This is where food and football fever collide. Join me as I teach you food and drink fans around the world are eating while they watch the beautiful game. Here are 4 iconic dishes from countries playing in Brazil. Brazil has been such an incredible host for the beautiful game. I wanted to do one of my favorite dishes, churrasco. I've had this at a couple restaurants and they bring out these giant sabers, swords filled with different types of meat. Now we can't do that at home, and churrasco means to barbecue over an open fire. And we're gonna do it inside now, but I'm gonna show you some ways to get some of those flavors going. So let's start off. First of all, I've got a hot grill. I'm just gonna baste it with some oil, and that will get some smoke going. Of course, smoke equals flavor. And the other thing I'm gonna do is I've got some rosemary, and the branches, they're gonna start to flavor that oil, and they're also gonna start to smoke a little bit, and we'll get a little bit of barbecue going on inside. I've got a combination here of garlic, jalapeno, and oil, and this is a simple marinade. Very easy to prepare, and it flavors the meat quickly. You don't want a lot of prep time. You know, when you're doing something for the game, you want something that'll feed large crowds, and in this case, tons of flavor. So as I've slathered that on, now the fun part. I get my saber, and this is one for at home. I've got some fresh thyme as well. I'm just gonna put a sprig of fresh thyme in each piece of the meat, and as I roll that up, I'm just going to skewer it, pass it through, and again, just creating for myself a skewer of this gorgeous flank steak. The great thing about this particular presentation is that it's very rustic and easy to do for you at home. And you can just slightly spread that out, and what you end up with is this beautiful skewer that's really easy to handle. And again, let's just have a quick look at this again. I'm just gonna make a little bit of an S bend, tucking that thyme in there, skewer straight through. These square skewers are just great because the meat doesn't roll around on it. So I'm just gonna skewer this again. And again, it's thinly cut flank steak. And you can use a variety of different steaks. You could use just about any steak that you have. The nice thing about this particular steak is it has some nice marbling, so I'm gonna get some decent flavor out of it. Now let's have a look at this rosemary. You can see it's slightly charred, which is great. We've got some oil. Now I'm gonna use coarse salt. And black pepper. And that's going directly on the grill. You can hear that sear, which is just great. We know we have to have a very hot grill in order to get good results. Otherwise, what happens is the meat starts to steam and then it boils. We don't get any flavor development. So now that I've got that on, I'm going to season the backside with coarse salt again. Coarse salt works really nice because it gets and penetrates deep into larger pieces of meat. I'm just gonna put a bit more. I got a tiny bit more of this marinade. And the nice thing is I'm gonna get a really beautiful heat from the jalapenos. Close that up, and our indoor grill is away and off to the races. A fast and easy complement to the beef is gonna be a tomato salsa. The great thing about it is that it's easy and fast, but it's also bright. So we're gonna have the heaviness of the beef with all of that heat. Now we need something to balance it out a little bit. I'm gonna start with fresh coriander and red onion. And I always like to bring them together first because I like them to be small pieces. I don't want big chunks of onion. Very pungent and unpleasant. So a couple quick pulses. And that's a great size now. I've got heart of palm. I'm gonna put about half of this in to start. And I've got half a jalapeno, nice, fresh, hot, and tomatoes. There's 1, 2, I'm gonna start with about 3 plum tomatoes, whatever you've got fresh. And let's bring that together a little bit. Beautiful. So a little bit of salt and pepper. And I'm going to put the rest of those tomatoes in. And you know what? I'm going to put in the rest of that heart of palm. It's nice when you do regional food, you have a look at, and I'm just going to put a little bit of lime in there. It's nice when you do regional food and you get a chance to see, you know, what's indigenous, what comes from that region, and what grows naturally. What would you find maybe at the market? I haven't been to Brazil, but in a trip to Guyana, I was blown away by the incredible variety that exists in other countries. Now that fresh salsa has come together nicely. Just going to plate that. And you see how I'm making this side dish, and I'm doing it while the steak is cooking. Beautiful. So you see that nice balance of heart of palm and tomato. It's kind of unique because it's a little bit different than a conventional tomato salsa. Now I've prepared a rice with some roasted red peppers, which will be a really great complement to this dish. It's nice when it's served family style. You can put it on a board or a cutting board, large platter. But the great thing is you can take one dish to the kitchen table or out into the, to watch the game, and then you can just divide it up. Let's have a quick look at how our steak is coming along here. Oh, gorgeous. So for me, I'd like to cook it about medium, not too much past medium, but of course, if you're going to cook it to well done, make sure you give it a chance to rest. It's really important to give it a chance to rest. That way that all of the muscle tissue, it can all relax, and you're not going to cut into it and lose the juice, and it's going to stay nice and tender. The reason that I'm going to take this out and put it right on top of the rice is any of that juice that drips down while it's resting is going to just be incredible. I've got a little bit of coriander here. I'm just going to place on top of the rice. And believe it or not, these are already done. I'm going to pull that off and straight, look at that, straight onto the rice. And we have ourselves a semi-authentic Brazilian barbecue. A little bit of red wine vinegar in that salsa to give it a bit of punch. I'm going to slice this lime in half. No sense wasting it. We can use it for garnish. A couple limes here and a couple here. That's ready to go to the table. I'd like to say thank you and a big warm shout out from my family to yours and from my country to yours. And haven't we all enjoyed the beautiful game and the food that goes along with it?